I'm going to show you a quick demonstration of how to find the area of a parallelogram. You already know how to find the area of a rectangle, and the formula is exactly the same. To find the area of a rectangle, we just do the base times the height. So make sure you write down the formula if you don't already have it memorized. The area of a parallelogram, same as a rectangle, is multiply the base times the height. So that just means you're looking for two numbers. Here's a rectangle, which is also a parallelogram. Our base is 12. And you may be thinking, well, why is it on the top? Isn't the base the bottom? The base is, it could be called the top or the bottom. And since they're parallel, whatever the bottom is, the top's going to be the same. So to find the area, we would simply multiply 12 by 9. Our height is 9. And 12 times 9 is 108. And then we add our units and make them square, whatever the units are. So when you look at this example up here, make sure you're writing this down. This is a more traditional looking parallelogram where we don't have all right angles as in a rectangle. We just have opposite sides being parallel. So there are three numbers here. Remember, we need the base and the height. And one thing you should keep in mind is when finding, the base and the height are always perpendicular to each other. Perpendicular lines always make a right angle, make right angles. So when you look at those three numbers, which two sides are forming right angles? Yeah, right here, the 4 and the 12. You see, the 4 is our height. It's forming a right angle with 12. So we're going to do 4 times 12 to get this area, which would be 48 square centimeters. So why don't we use this side? Well, this is what you call a slant height. This is not perpendicular to the base. It's slanted. If I asked you to measure my height, I would stand up straight. I wouldn't slant to the side. So the only time you need a slant height is if you are finding perimeter. For area, look for a height that is going to be perpendicular to the base. Sometimes it's inside the parallelogram like that. That would be a height that you could use as well. Let's take a look at a real life example. Ramilla is painting a replica of the national flag of Trinidad and Tobago for a research project. Find the area of the black stripe. So as you can see in the flag, the black stripe is a parallelogram. The opposite sides are parallel. The black stripe is a parallelogram, so we can use the formula we just learned. To find the area, we're going to multiply the base by the height. And it's telling us here that our base is 6 3/4 inches. Well, I could keep that as a fraction, 6 3/4, or I could change it to a decimal. And 3/4 is the same as 3/4, and 3/4 are 0.75. Remember, like 75 cents? Now I need to find the height. And there's no height given here, but when I look over the side of the flag, it says 12. Well, if this height is 12, this is the same height as my parallelogram here. My parallelogram's height from the base is also 12 inches. So I'm going to do 6 3/4 times 12, or 6.75 times 12. I'm going to work that problem out with you. You can work it out on your paper. 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 7 is 14, and 1 is 15. 2 times 6 is 12, and 1 is 13. I'm not going to worry about the decimal yet. I'm going to place my 0. 1 times 5, 1 times 7, 1 times 6. I'm going to add them up, and I get 8,100? Nope. Need to place my decimal. 1, 2 times 1, 2. That's better. So my area is 81, and we're talking about inches now. Inches squared. So that's it. That's how you find area of a parallelogram. You simply multiply the base by the height. Why don't you try 2 problems on your own and bring these notes to class tomorrow. We'll practice some more. So we have two different parallelograms. You may be thinking, what is this? There's no numbers. If you look closely, there's a grid. And we're going to let the grids be 1 unit, okay? One line is going to equal 1 unit. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. And the height, if we count straight up here, is 1, 2, 3 units. So the height is 3. Go ahead, pause the video, find the area of these two parallelograms. Unpause when you're finished. And let's take a look. So for the first parallelogram over here, all you have to do is 6 times 3 to find the area, and that is 18. Now, we didn't have units, so I hope you just put units squared. If you're not given units, then you can use the word unit, squared units. Now this one, I hope it didn't stump you. Which numbers did you use for the base and the height? If you use 4 and 16, you were correct. 4 times 16 is how you would find the area of this parallelogram, and that should have given you 64 square meters. If you accidentally used the 17, remember that is a slant height. We never use a slant height. If you look at the angle that slant height is making with my base, it's making an acute angle here. I need a right angle. This line is making a right angle with the base, with the bottom of the parallelogram. So that is the true height. So I didn't need that number. Sometimes they throw numbers in there to confuse you, or maybe you would need to find the perimeter of that shape, of that parallelogram. Then we would need the 17. We'll practice finding the area of parallelograms again tomorrow. Make sure you bring all your notes.